All right, ladies and gentlemen, right out. The plan today was gonna be go fishing, but we didn't get a ton of snow. It's probably 2 inches or so, but it's the rain that happened before the snow and then how warm out it is. So this snow, it's gonna make the lakes really difficult to drive on and move or maneuver on. And I don't wanna get stuck when I'm by myself. So here's the plan. I am gonna go die pulling trail cameras. It's gonna be trudging through the woods to pull trail cameras, but I would rather do that than go get stuck on a lake. Enough rambling. I mean, I'm already out of breath. I'm so out of shape, I'm already out of breath, and I walked 50 feet down a driveway. Now I'm gonna be trudging through feet of snow. But either way, let's go get these trail cameras, shall we? Good thing ice fishing season ends today, because I can't afford to keep putting gas in this truck to get around the lakes. Holy. Trudging around out here this time of year, I can give you 2 tips on why it's extremely helpful. It is the dead of winter, just past the dead of winter. We're in March. These deer are conserving as much energy as possible. They're going to be using the easiest path through your property, and those paths you will see line up with rut activity paths. Because those bucks are looking for does, they're sprinting around during the rut. They're not going to be running through the thickest part of your property just to get somewhere where they're already going, like bedding back we have over here. I say it all the time, hunting and fishing are not exact sciences. Like, I'm not 100%, like they're not always going to use this. Like if you find a trail like I have here, you know, there's only a couple of tracks from recently, but the snow is indented, which means they're using it a lot. I'm not saying this is the only place they're going to be in the rut, but you got to stack those cards in your favor, and this is one of the cards you can pay attention to. The second part of walking around this time of year is maybe some of your sight lines aren't as covered as you think they are. I don't know if you guys will be able to tell, but behind me here, I can see all the way to the top of that hill. This is the only time of year that I knew that you could see there. So if we were using this path to get in and out of a tree stand, there's bedding on top of that hill. They're watching us. And if I'm not out here right now, because I didn't know until I was standing right here, I had no idea they could see from back there. I thought it was thick enough. I thought there was enough leaf and pressure there that you couldn't see it. But I was wrong. So rethinking strategy for next year already. And that starts today. You know, talking about knocking some trees down in between here and there, block that view a little bit better. We just grabbed our first camera. There's some tracks here. There's definitely gonna be some deer on this camera. I never doubted there wouldn't be. But I can't believe this camera's still on. The hard part is remembering where all my cameras are. Like, I know I got 2 if I go this way, but I'm pretty sure I have one down this trail. So we're just kind of wandering around. I'm gonna walk out this trail and see if I can find it. Here's a great example of learning. This whole time, you know, I knew there was paths through here. I always thought they hit this trail and turned in, because there's another cross trail up there, and turned in there. And I even have a camera doing it, but looking right here, they cut right here behind me a ton. There's 3 different paths right here. All of them had done that. So you learn a lot walking around this time of year. So next year there will be a camera on this pine tree or one of these little trees, and we'll see what we get. Here is one of our biggest question marks for this upcoming season. What are we gonna put in to block that front view? I wanna get something covered, and maybe even one coming vertically north and south. But what are we gonna plant? The biggest question mark I have is what we wanna plant, how big do we wanna make it, and where do we wanna put it? How do we wanna orient it? If it's something like corn, do we wanna block views? Do we want it just to be in the middle, so if you're trying to get to it, you can see it from all sides? Lots of question marks with this chunk of the property next year, but with question marks comes excitement. So anticipation, the planning and building process is a lot of fun for me. So this area here, I am very excited about. This food plot here I'm most excited about for a returning plot this year. We put this one in for the first time last year. This, see that stuff? That was this whole area. We cleaned it up really good in the first year. And as you can see, I don't know if you guys can tell if it's too bright or too dark, all these holes and divots, that you see in the snow, that was before the last couple rains and snowfalls, but that tells me that they were in here hammering this food plot, you know, probably January, maybe mid-late January, which is a great sign. It is very good indication that they will be coming back to this food plot next year and the year after that. So very excited about this food plot. We're going to extend it a little bit that way. And the second thing I want to do is I did a couple of cuts in here last year. This year we have a 4-wheeler trail goes right down the middle here. 20-30 yards on one side, 20-30 yards on the other. We are going to cut down a ton of trees, tons of hinge cuts. Block this in so well. Make sure they're bedding back in here. They have a quick trail for access, but make sure they're bedding in here and not in those pines. That will be the plan for this part of the woods. It might even go 50 yards that way. We can't get tree stands in any of these trees. They're all crooked and hanging weird or too small. So hinge cutting a ton of this is just gonna be beneficial for years to come, you know, 4 or 5 years to come. Having hinge cuts back in here will make a huge difference in the amount of deer bedding close to food sources. And there we go. The walking was not easy. But here we are at the front plot, our very first plot, at the site where we got the biggest buck we've ever seen on camera. The first time we ever pulled a card out here. This plot is awesome, I love it. It tends to definitely have deer come through it, but they're very nocturnal because as you can see, the house is 30 yards away. So I need to do something about covering the front of this plot. And whatever we decide to do out there, we'll probably just do up front of here. So I'm gonna take the front part of this whole plot and block the view the best we can. Probably some switchgrass is what I'm guessing we're gonna use, because that should be the easiest thing to use. But if you guys have any ideas out there, let me know. Well, let's get to the truck, let's get back home, and let's check out these cards. There was a bear out of its den on December 11th. What? That's weird, right? All right, and here we are at the computer, and as I'm clicking through some of these last photos and videos, man, there's just nothing of importance to really show you guys. Like, to be 100% honest, there's no big bucks. Like last year when we pulled our final pull, we had 8 bucks that I would have shot. They were big. They were all 3.5 minimum. Some could have been 4-year-olds. It was awesome. There was 8 of them. As we were clicking through every photo, it was just like extremely exciting. This year, you know, we got maybe 2. I think we have 2 to possibly 3 3-year-olds, and that's it. So there's nothing really crazy to share as I click through the last few of these. Extremely disappointing hard pull, but you know, neighbors shooting $6, me and dad shooting $1 a piece. You know, that takes a big toll on those deer. You know, that takes a big toll on what we were gonna see. I also didn't have a camera in the back where we got all the photos from last year. You know, I thought I had one back there, but apparently I did not. And as I click through the last few of these videos that are on this camera in the front plot, there's just nothing, there's nothing to share. Let's see if these videos will play. You know, and this was the only things that I saved from the other food plot. So we got this buck here, we got full on each side plus some brow tines. This guy here, he's broken on the right side, but he's fairly large. He'll be big next year. He'll be probably a shooter for us next year. And then this 10-pointer, who looks very similar to the other bucks, but he does have some little notches there, makes him a 10 instead of an 8, so he's definitely a different buck. And we also have a bobcat roaming around. We got him on camera twice. That's one of them. But overall, that is it for this episode. That's it for our final trail camera video, if you will. It was definitely awesome getting out there with all that snow, seeing those tracks because, like I said, last year we had 8 bucks on camera, but when I went and pulled trail cameras, there was not I think I saw 1 fresh set of tracks in the entire property. Barely any trails whatsoever. All of those bucks we had were in January, and then nothing on the cameras after that. This year, we're down on numbers of bucks. However, there were trails everywhere. There were some fresh tracks. All of our food plots looked like this. They were all indented everywhere. The deer were in there eating way later into the season, and they're there now. So our buck numbers are down, but our deer population is up this year. So I'm wondering if maybe it just has something to do with what's in the agriculture fields around us, those deer. We'll find out next year. If next year comes and we have all those bucks again, it has something to do of an external factor. It's hard to say. It's hard to say when, how, where, and why the deer are where they are. But that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. I cannot wait to start our spring projects on the property. So make sure you are subscribed and ring the bell so that you get updates whenever I post videos and whenever those videos goes live. Anyway, make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe if you want to join me, Bob, and Steve for any gaming content. That's what this little box is that I'm in right now. This is my gaming side. SgtOutdoors is that channel. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, subscribe. Until next time, not sure where I'll see you.